Hi children, welcome back to the English classes. Hope all of you have enjoyed so far the bridge course classes, and also I hope that you have finished assignments given to you and successfully submitted to your teachers. So, shall we continue the classes now? Here in today's class, we are going to know more about the first lesson, a day in ashram. Before that, I have something for you to enjoy till the class ends. Here is a sentence. Let us juggle and giggle a bit with that. Look at the sentence. Here is the sentence. It says, a dash doctor was dash to perform a surgery because there was dash. Isn't it fun? Because you need to fill all the blanks with only letters using given below, that is N-O-T-A-B-L-E, and I am going to ask the answer at the end of the class, and that's fine. You can take the whole time of the class. So, moving on, say what could be our dreams regarding our schools, how you need your school to be. Of course, everybody has got a dream about their schools. How about this picture that you are watching? Look at the kids studying out of their classrooms and enjoying studying their books. Yeah, time to think that how your classroom to be. Of course, we study in a room sitting with our friends and guided by our teachers. But here is a school with a difference which I am going to introduce you today through the lesson. Of course, here is another story before we get into the lesson. There was a boy by name Munna. It was Sunday, but Munna was very unhappy. His sister Jessica joined him on the breakfast table. Seeing Munna's face, Jessica could make out that something was terribly wrong with him. Jessica asked what was bothering him so much. Munna slowly started to narrate what was the issue. His friend stole his project file that was left on his desk yesterday, but for his astonishment, it was submitted to the teacher by his close friend Vishwas a moment next. The act of deceit hurt him a lot. Jessica, his sister, smiled and told him a story of her own school days. Janu and Jessica were close friends. On the day of her exam, Jessica couldn't find her neatly written notes and she was panicked. Oh, for her amazement, she found her notes with Janu, her close friend, but she did not complain it to her class teacher. Luckily, the teacher who found the reason for Jessica's sad face spoke to Janu regarding her act of deceiving her own friend and counseled her to apologize with Jessica and also not to repeat it at all. Now, this was time for Jessica to decide. Janu was ashamed actually and apologized for her mistake. Jessica smiled and forgave her, saying friendship is beyond such silly acts. They were then friends again. Children, this story made Munna to feel very positive about not fighting with Vishwas for stealing his project. He also understood that we must value friendship more and let our friends to understand and change themselves. So, how was the story of Munna and Jessica and also Janu and Vishwas? Hope you enjoyed the story. Now, let's get into the lesson reading, children. Come on, hey, let us read the lesson. Turn on to page number 2 in your textbook. Here starts your lesson, A Day in the Ashram, written by C.F. Andrus. Words cannot picture to you the beauty of Shantiniketan. Our own poet and teacher, whom we call Gurudeva has named it in his song, The Darling of Our Hearts. And it is worthy of the name. All who have visited the ashram, old and young alike, have felt its inner beauty growing more and more upon them. If I were to describe to you one day in the ashram with the boys, that would perhaps best bring home to you its inner beauty. Long before sunrise, like the birds in our own amlaki trees, our boys are awake. The choristers are the first to raise, and they go around the ashram singing their morning hymn. You can hear the voices in the distance drawing nearer and nearer. And then the sound dies away as the choir passes on to another part of the ashram, and then again it comes nearer and nearer. The beauty of the sound in the silent morning air and sense of joy and reverence which it brings give peace to the soul. After an interval, each boy takes his asan, his square of carpet, into the fields and sits down on it to meditate in his own place alone. Later on, before the school work begins, the boys all stand together in the shade of the trees and sing their hymn. Till about 10:30, the work of the school goes on. We have no classrooms here. The boys sit with their teachers in the open air under the trees. There are no longer classes. A group of 8 or 10 boys are seated around the teacher asking him questions. Very few books are used. A greater part is carried on through conversation. The boys soon learn to open out all their difficulties to their teachers, and the teachers get keenly interested in boys' questions and answers. Such living education can never be dull. Here are some words, children, that are from the read passage. What we read now, these words are from there. Gurudeva was a sobriquet for Rabindranath Tagore ji. Darling is beloved, or the one who is very much admired. Choir, a group of singers singing hymns. Hymn is nothing but song of praise to God. Shloka antivala, that is hymn. Choir is nothing but bhajana mandali. Reverence is respect. Meditate, to pray silently. ಧ್ಯಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Keen, showing interest. Worthy, valuable. Grow, small group of trees. ಪುಟ್ಟ ತೋಟ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So, this lesson, A Day in Ashram, is all about beloved Gurudeva, that is Rabindranath Tagore. You must know about him before we get into lesson. Rabindranath Tagore is an Indian poet who won Nobel Prize for Literature. He was a poet, musician, writer and a painter who was called Gurudeva by his disciples. Shantiniketan, an ashram school, was basically found in 1901 in Kolkata by Gurudeva's family members as a prayer house, but later developed into a school with a difference, and then into a central university, Vishwabharati University, in 1935. So, this is how it looked like. An ashram school where children had studied outside the classroom amidst the garden with the teacher as their guide. As you have already read in the lesson, Shantiniketan was a school with a difference founded by Gurudeva. Unlike normal formal schooling, there was a difference in ashram and let us know what are they. This is how the entrance of the school looked like. Morning alarm was a choir singing hymns, waking up all. Normally, how do we wake up? We go for an alarm clock, or usually mothers do it, right? At home, your mother will always be an alarm for you to get up early to reach the school by time. But there is a difference in ashram. Ashram kids wake up with a choir singing hymn for them. A choir goes on singing hymns, that is shlokas, every morning to wake up the students. The boys meditate sitting in solitude and sing hymns after that. After getting up, they would all take their asana and have a yoga session, then meditate silently for a moment to develop concentration on their classes. This is how a choir looked like. So mornings were so blissful in ashram. Classes used to start early in the morning under the trees where there were very few students with the teacher. There are no classrooms. Of course, ashram had no classrooms. Kids used to sit under the trees. Classes through conversation. Conversation is nothing but discussing, talking to each other. So, the classes in ashram used to be based on conversation mainly. Children used to ask questions and teachers used to answer all their queries and questions without fail. That's how classes used to be. So now, time to vocabulary work. Come on, let us see what are prefix and suffix today. Affix is something that is joined with a word to give another meaning apart from the word basically means. There are two types of affix that we discuss in today's class. One is prefix and another one is suffix. So in this context, prefix refers to a syllable or a word that comes before a word. Usually, prefixes make antonyms or opposites. There are some commonly used prefix today for you: in, anti, un, ex, im, multi, sub, so on. What I am referring today are a limited prefix for your knowledge. There are many such prefix that you can find later when you would like to learn more. How do we use prefix? Look at the slide, kids. There are some root words that I have placed and there are prefixes attached to them to change their meaning. Look at a word complete. It becomes incomplete when we join the prefix in into it. Like becomes dislike with a prefix adjoining to it dis, dis. Perfect becomes imperfect. National becomes anti-national. So, coming to the next slide, here is an exercise for you to perform that how better we can choose prefix. Look at that, kids. There are 4 sentences and 4 different prefixes given to you to choose and place. The first sentence reads like, the school dash opens on June 1st. Second one is, one who eats meat is a dash vegetarian. Third sentence, Bhakra Nangal is a dash purpose project. The last one is, if you start dancing in your class, it is an dash mature behavior. Let us move on to suffix. In the same context that we had read about the prefix, suffix is a word, syllable that is attached to a word after it. A word, letter or a number placed after another is called a suffix that the slide reads on. So, suffix is something that is attached after a word. Here are some commonly used suffix: meant, shun, able, ish, full, ship, I've, ly, lie, and so on. Children, again, whatever the suffix that I have given you now is just for your reference. There are so many like this. So, using suffix, how do we use them? Here are 4 examples. Look at the root word appoint. Appoint is a verb basically, and that becomes a noun when you join suffix ment to it. Appointment. Like becomes likely when you add ly to it. Member becomes membership when you add ship to it. National becomes nationalism when you add ism to it. This is how the suffix are used in a word. Here is another exercise for you to perform, that how better you can choose a suffix that is suitable to the root word. Your first sentence is Rajat was comfort dash in his seat. Second one, Riya looked at her reflect dash in the mirror. The third sentence is the rate of employee dash in India has been rising steadily. Fourth one, India has won the champion dash at Sharjah. So you know very well now that what suffix suits the given exercises. Some more for your knowledge is given to you here. Suffix with the root word, arrange becomes arrangement, complete becomes completion, rare becomes rarely, member becomes membership, and so on. And possible becomes impossible, like becomes dislike, determine becomes predetermine, cycle, as you all know the word very familiarly, cycle can be bicycle by adding bi to it as prefix. So, this is all about suffix and prefix for the day's class, and more examples on this can be found on Diksha app by scanning QR code on your lessons first page. So, now we shall move on to articles as a part of vocabulary learning in today's class.
Today we're going to talk about when to use a in a sentence and when to use an. The rules are pretty clear cut about this, so we're just going to go over them real fast. You'll notice in the first 3 examples, a man, a woman, and a child. All of these examples have to do with use the word a. And it's because all of the words M, W, and C are all consonants. Consonants. So all of these words start with a because a man, a woman, and a child, they all start with consonants, whereas an angel, an elephant, and an iron all start with vowels. So basically that's the rule. If the next word starts with a consonant, then you know that it's going to be a. If the next word starts with a vowel, then you know it's going to be an, like an angel, an elephant, or an iron. The only exception to the rule is if you have a silent H, like in the word hour. Now, hour actually starts with an H, but it's silent. An hour, you don't pronounce the H, so it's still an. So that's the one exception to the rule. An hour, because the H is silent, in the terms of a silent H, that is when you use the word an. And that is a basic minute-and-a-half introduction.
Articles are the words used before nouns to modify their numbers or to specify the certainty. There are 2 types of articles. One is definite and indefinite, since it is followed by the sound of the word, root word that we add on articles. So, this slide says you that how to use articles. Think before using articles. Children, what I am giving you now is the basic rule of using articles. First one, follow the sound while using indefinite article, vowel or consonant. We must get the sound of the word that we are choosing to use articles before it. If the word begins with the sound of consonant, then use a. If the word begins with the sound of vowel, you are using an with it. So that's the difference between a and an. Use them when it is singular in count. We cannot use indefinite article before the count of noun is more than 1. So we use it only when it is singular in number. So we use it before singular nouns. Use definite article when you are sure about the noun and also referring for the second time. So now it is about definite article. When are we using definite article? We use definite article before a noun that are we sure about it, when you are repeatedly using the same noun. Coming to the last point, universal truths carry definite articles always. So some statements that never change carry definite article with them. We always use it before the truth that never changes. For example, we call the sun, not a sun. So we call the sun, the sunrise. So moving on to the next slide, we see when not to use articles. Children, there are some moments where we don't use articles in a sentence at all. What are the situations? Let us just have a look at 3 major situations like that. First one is while referring to uncountable nouns. While referring to uncountable nouns, we shouldn't use any article before it. You know the difference between countable and uncountable nouns, I hope. So I don't explain it here again. Coming to the second point, not before the names, sports, acronyms and places at all. While using someone's name, while using sports, activities name and acronyms. So the last one is before the name of companies and universities and languages. When you refer to a language, you say English, not the English or an English. Students, here are some words with a blank that you can use for your exercise. So please take down the words given and add articles to them and show it to your subject teacher. Children, here are some examples to know how the articles have been used in a sentence. A horse has 4 legs. We use a here since it produces a consonant sound. The noun next to article produces a consonant sound. So here is the horse. An apple a day keeps doctor away. Oh, it's a famous proverb. You could have heard it, right? So that's it. An apple. Apple has an vowel sound. So we say an apple. The puppy in the corner is jumping. The puppy. I used definite article before the noun puppy since I know the puppy I am referring to. Yes, it is in a corner and it is jumping. So I am sure about the one I am talking about. So that is the puppy in the corner is jumping. Here are 5 sentences and check your knowledge that how better you have learnt articles in today's class. Kindly go through these 5 sentences and match with the right article and try to reason out that why have you chosen that article. Time to check our knowledge, that how better we have understood the lesson. Here are some questions for you kids. Hope you can solve them. Who named the school Shantiniketan? I think you got the right answer. Rabindranath Tagore, beloved Gurudeva, has named the school Shantiniketan. Oh, you were right with the first answer. So now here comes the second question for you, that is, When does the day in ashram begin? Yes, you are right again. Long before the sunrise, like the birds in amlaki trees, the choristers are the first to raise and go singing around the ashram to wake up the others. Hooray! Both of your answers right. So let us now move on to the third question. Who else are the early raisers in ashram along with choristers? Of course, the picture is a hint for you. So here is the answer. The birds in the amlaki trees are the early raisers in the ashram along with the boys. Wow, that was the right answer. So now here is another question for you that reads like, what kind of work do the boys practice in the afternoon? Yes, again we are right. The boys engage preferably in handiwork in the afternoon. Yes, we remember reading in the lesson that afternoon classes mainly based on the skills that they would like to learn. Yeah, well, we are moving ahead and assignment time for all of you. Find the prefix and suffix part in the following words. Children, I have few words for you for which you need to find prefix and suffix part on your own at home as a part of assignment and should show it to your teacher. For more practice, we have more activities for you. Just all what you need to do is, there is a symbol called QR code on the top of the text page, and all you need to do is to download Diksha app and scan the QR code. How to scan? How to download? Of course, we have detailed information in our textbook itself, where the cover page of your textbook says all of it. So you can refer to the cover page and download Diksha app, and the QR code of your lesson level is just above the text in page number 1. You can scan that code and get more activities and exercises to perform on your own through this. So what all you need to do is, after reading the lesson, just complete the activities given in this QR code and submit it to your class teacher. Class is over. So now this is the answer time. Hope you all remember sentence which bear the same spelling but with a different words formed by them as answer for it. So here is the answer for you. A notable doctor was not able to perform a surgery because there was notable. So this is the answer. Hope you all enjoyed, kids. So go through the lesson and have a look at the next part of the lesson also, which we are going to study in our next class. Goodbye. Have a good day.